What's up guys, YGLStrats here. It's time for a side deck guide. Why for this particular Table 500 deck, you might ask, in 2021 of all years? Well, because StativDragon37_ asked for one. That's why. Now, similarly to playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, an easy way to side against a deck is to just put in cards that don't let your opponent play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, you ask, what does the opponent do, and how do I stop it? Now, from my experience, Volcanic is a deck that does two things well: use Floodgates and abuse Scattershot. It's common to see plenty of continuous traps on their field, be it Floodgates like Summon Limit, or There Can Be Only One, or disruption cards like Crackdown, or say something like Fiendish Chain. So your easiest solution here is Mass Destruction. Blowout cards like Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm will work wonders, and on the best of days, they'll give you a little something that looks like this. But if you're a little more budget-minded, other removal cards like Twin Twister, Galaxy Cyclone, and the tried and true MST are solid options as well. If you want advice on using quick play removal in place of normal spell cards, you'll often find it can be better to hold them and chain to remove a problem card rather than just blindly playing them at the beginning of your turn. Or, put more clearly, if your opponent has 3 back row and you draw into MST, wait until they activate a card to disrupt you and chain the MST on that card. So when you normal summon and they chain Fiendish Chain, or There Can Be Only One or something, you chain MST targeting that flipped up card. It generally ends better for you that way than just guessing a random card that could just end up being a set bluff card anyways. In regards to the 3 that I've mentioned here, MST, Twin Twister, and Galaxy Cyclone, I do want to give special mention to Galaxy Cyclone. The banishing can be huge in the Volcanic matchup, as the core piece of their deck, Blaze Accelerator Reload, does have a graveyard effect, so if you banish it in place of destroying it, you can save yourself some future problems. The final piece of removal I'm going to mention here in terms of Spell and Trap is Hey Trunade. It only removes set Spell and Trap, and it bounces them to the hand, so they will be able to set them again on the next turn. And like, if they're playing Floodgates, then they can just chain any Floodgate to Trunade, which won't really help you. They can just flip up There Could Be Only One preemptively. It's not a great choice in my opinion, but if you know they're playing traps that aren't Floodgates, it might be okay. And I mean, being real here, you're watching a side deck guide for Volcanic. If you are clicking on this video, it's probably out of either confusion or because there's one person at your locals or one person that you play against a buddy and they just keep using Volcanics, and you know what they're playing and you know what cards you hate, and if they're playing more reactive ones, something like Solemn Strike or Torrential Tribute, and you know that, then Hey Trunade could be solid. Otherwise, Destruction and Banishing are just going to be better. Beyond the spell and traps, the other trouble you're probably having is getting Regeki'd on your own turn. You can't keep getting away with it! Because that's what Scattershot does. And it does that as a graveyard effect, which means we can play Hate just for that. Skullmeister is a hand trap that can be discarded to stop an effect in the opponent's graveyard, which means it can work great against both Scattershot and Blaze Accelerator Reload, giving you options on when to stop that particular play. Another power guard against Volcanics is Called by the Grave. Now, at the time of making this video, that is limited because Konami hates fun. Because Konami has ruled that combo decks need to stop. But if you hit Scattershot with Called, it can kill Volcanic's ability to easily break boards and make your win that much easier. As for other things Volcanic does, Royal Firestorm Guards is a card they like to play, and in terms of ways to stop it, things like Effect Veiler and Ash Blossom work well and have utility against other cards in their deck. Another cheeky side you might not know about is DD Crow. If you DD Crow away one of the targets for Royal Firestorm Guards, the effect won't be able to resolve since it doesn't have enough monsters to shuffle back into the deck, which means they don't recycle and they don't draw. So that can be a cute way to get around it. And if you hit Scattershot, again, very detrimental to their ongoing plays. And just kind of going a little quicker here, a little more rapid fire. Not all of these are optimal for every deck or situation, but depending on what you're playing, you might find some good uses for them. So Denko Sekka is great against back row if you don't need your normal summon or play back row of your own, but it does only have 1700 attack, which means it can be outed by Volcanic Rocket, and I've seen a lot of lists that play Thunder King Ryo as well, so if you're using it, you're going to either need ways to protect it for the grind game, or you just summon it and go for the OTK. Rite of Reboot can shut them down for a turn, so if you OTK, this card can be great, but similar to Called by the Grave, as of this video, it is limited, so it might not be the most reliable choice. Trap Negation, like Trap Stun and Royal Decree, might work for your playstyle. Each kind of has its own merits, one being chainable, one being continuous, so they can both do things, but they are traps to negate traps, so they are inherently just very slow. Unless you are also playing a slow deck, I don't recommend them, but I don't know, I mean, maybe you just really love the artwork of Trap Stun, in which case, give her, it's your side deck. And then finally, Imperial Order is also a card, and they might be playing it. If that's the case, I recommend not as a side deck, but actually main removal like Nightmare Phoenix or Tornado Dragon, if you can play that in your extra deck. That's just kind of a smart thing to do if you have the room for it. And that's pretty much the gist of what I know for Volcanics. In terms of a summary of what I think works best, I'm going to say honorable mentions to Nightmare Phoenix, and I'm also going to throw in Abyss Dweller here as well if you can make it. Both can be played in Game 1 before you side and are just great ways to get around common Volcanic techs and cards, so absolutely great. But yeah, my top picks, probably Skullmeister, and then Feather Duster or Lightning Storm, just for blowing out back row. If you're going for the maybe more budget-minded or just a quick play alternative, Galaxy Cyclone as the quick play for trap removal in specific. And yeah, if you can if you're just a better person than your opponent and you can open Called by the Grave, that's a great tech as well. So there you have it. StatDragon37_ here is hoping your Volcanic matchup gets easier for you in the future. If there are any Volcanic experts in the comments, and you know of something I've either gotten wrong or a tech I didn't consider that works well and you feel like sharing that information, feel free. I got limited experience with the Volcanic matchup. I'm not gonna lie to you. So by all means, if there's something I missed, let me know. And if you'd like to see any other side guides, go ahead, leave a comment. I'll see what I can do for you. Feel free to do all that cool YouTube stuff too, you know, like, comment, yada, yada, yada. This has been YGO Strats, and I'll see you next time. Am I back to making videos again? Go ahead and call me Joe Rogan, because
it's entirely possible that